Have you ever been mad at anyone on your team before? Let me share a story with you. Hey, welcome to this video, educators. Before I get into the story, I just want to put a little context. One of the tools that we teach in the connection-driven classroom is the spark. And the spark is just a positive interaction that we intentionally create in the classroom to support connections and build relationships. Now, with that said, this story is all about the spark, but it's really about me and how I got schooled by the spark, not a fourth grader. And so in the story, understand this, that my team of educational consultants, we're all educators, we get together so often, and when we're having a meeting, it's typically set up in an office setting or in a campus to demonstrate in the classroom. And so my team together was getting on a campus. I drove an hour and a half to get to this campus, ready to meet. And as soon as I got there, they informed me that my team called and canceled the campus and said, we're gonna meet somewhere else. And I just thought to myself, oh my God, how in the world did my meeting change and I didn't even know about it? So I get on the phone with them and they're like, hey, we'd rather hang at the Airbnb and meet here. We're much more comfortable. And at this point, I don't think that they thought through the logistics of the day, what our checkout time at the Airbnb was. It was so frustrating as a business owner to understand your team made a decision that totally frustrated you. And I don't know about you, I don't handle everything very well at times. I'm very reactive. And let me just tell you, on the drive over, I just was escalating of all the reasons why this jacked up my day and hijacked our meeting. So as I pulled up to this Airbnb, I need you to understand, I'm getting ready to walk into 10 members of my team ready to get the meeting started. So when I walk in, we're already behind, we're ready to go. But as I mentioned earlier, the spark, being the positive intentional part of the tool, is something that we incorporate at the beginning of every one of our meetings. So with that said, I open the door and I have 10 dancers, hands in the air. We are family. They got it playing the music. I'm walking in and I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, turn that stuff off. And they're like, we are family. And I was like, no, we're behind. What is going on? And I was ready. And I would just tell you, I was not in a good mood. And what's interesting about this story is my co-founder, Denise, walks up to me and at least she acknowledges the fact, I know you're upset. I know we made a decision without talking to you today. But before we even get into that, let me remind you, how do we start every one of our meetings? Big deep breath. We start with a spark. And she said, so before we go any further, I'm just going to need you to start and embrace the conversation, the singing, we are family. That's our concept. And there's this poster that says, we are family, and 10 little buckets for everybody's name. And everybody needs to create 10 Post-it notes to put affirmations in everybody's bucket. And I don't know about you, but I wasn't feeling in the affirmation mood. I don't know about you, but have you ever just wanted to be mad? Because that's where I was at. I didn't want to put out a Post-it note. I didn't want to tell anybody positive. I wanted to yell at everybody and tell them what the heck were they doing? You jacked up our meeting. You jacked up our day. But that's not what happened. So as Denise comes to me and says, I'm going to need you to participate in this spark, I'm just like, oh my God. Okay. So I read it and I'm like, seriously? So I'm like, is there a space where I can have a moment to myself? And they're like, yeah, you can go over in this room. And I'm like, so I take a Post-it note and a pen and I stand there for a second. And I have heard people say this, that your brain cannot be in two emotional spaces at the same time. And I've heard this, but I have never experienced this until this moment. And all of a sudden I am pissed. And now all of a sudden I need to be blessed. And as I start to reflect and take a moment to breathe and calm down, and as I start to write down these Post-it notes, I can see and feel my heart rate start to soften. And I'm like, no, I want to be mad. And I couldn't fight it. As every note I wrote, all 10 notes, you could just see my number decreasing from a 10 down to a lower number. And it's interesting, by the time I submitted all of these 10 Post-it notes and they gave me my cup and I still wasn't ready to read my affirmations in front of my team, I was like, no, I need a space. So I went back to my little room and I looked like Frodo in the ring. I just started pulling out little pieces of paper and started reading them one at a time. And as I read to them, I could just feel my heart soften. I could feel how blessed I was to have these team members. And despite how we have started the day, I was totally reminded that I am honored and blessed to share this company and this space with other educators who truly care about each other and kids. And I tell you this story today not to talk about how reactive I am or how bad my team set me up that day. It was just realistically, I look back at this and I start to glean, like, what is important about this? And as much as we preach and teach about intentional positive interactions in the classroom, what I learned from that day is it's important that we stay in the rhythm and routines of what our company stands for. And that is relationships first. And to me, it just sent a tremor because I started to reflect, if this tool can transform a business owner who is very reactive and lost it that day, then I know as a campus leader, it can work for you. So campus leaders, if you're looking to transform your classrooms or your campus, I'm going to invite you to go to our website at ddiscipline.com.